cloudy afternoon and a very warm welcome to the black hole. Today we are going to explore how Stoic philosophy can help one find inner strength and resilience, and hence the title of today's talk is Conquer Your Mind with the Power of Stoicism. So we are going to learn how to master one's thoughts and emotions and head towards personal growth and fulfillment while battling adversities in life. We are very grateful to our speaker. मेरे दाएं जानिब तशरीफ़ फरमा है अल्तमुश खान आतिश. He is the former lead game designer of the Game Storm Studios and Epsologics. Moreover, he has worked on over 100 apps for Android, iOS and PC. लेकिन आज की मौजू की मुनासबत से ये बताना बरमहल होगा कि फ़िलासफ़ी, ओल्ड स्कूल और एंशिएंट विज़डम जो है वो आपकी दिलचस्पी के मौज़ूआत हैं, और आज की नशिस्त में आप अपना हासिल मुतालिया और नतीजा फ़िक्र हमारे सामने रखेंगे. हम ख्वाहिशमंद होते हैं कि हमारे सेशन में जो ऑडियंस है उसकी भी शमूलियत हो, वो भी गुफ्तगू में शरीक हों. एंड टुडे सेशन इज़ गोइंग टू बी एन इंटरेक्टिव वन. उसके लिए प्लीज़ अपना हाथ पहले बुलंद कीजिएगा ताकि आपको ये माइक्रोफोन दे दिया जाए और आपकी आवाज़ जो है वो ऑनलाइन ऑडियंस तक भी जा सके. लेकिन उससे पहले छोटा सा काम कीजिएगा कि प्लीज़ अपने सेल फोन जो है वो साइलेंट मोड में कर दें, सो दैट देयर इज़ नो डिस्ट्रैक्शन. बस यही थी 2-3 बातें. आपकी आमद का शुक्रिया. प्लीज़ वेलकम अल्तमुश खान आतिश. थैंक यू.
Okay, so we're here because we want to conquer our mind. What does that mean? What does mind mean? And what does the mind do? What is it actually? How many of you believe that you need to conquer your mind? Raise your hand. Okay. So, why? Why do you think you need to conquer your mind? What is bothering you currently? What are the things that are bothering you? Anybody?
उर्दू में बताऊंगा. जैसे दिमाग में हम मैच देखते हैं तो कमेंट्री चल रही होती है, ऐसी एक कमेंट्री हमारे दिमाग में चल रही होती है, तो उसको कॉन्कर करना है.
All right. So that's the thing. You have to understand that your brain loves to. We were having some technical difficulties over here. What the hell happened? Okay. So your brain is basically loves to think. Your brain loves to think. Am I correct? Your brain loves to think? What happens when it doesn't have anything to think about? It tries to make up things to think about, doesn't it? It does, right? So what is the main problem with the brain? It loves to think. What can you do about it? What can you do about it? According to the Stoics, you can control your thoughts. What does that mean, you can control your thoughts? Does anybody know what does it mean to control your thoughts? Anybody?
I think to control the things which I never control.
Okay, anybody else?
To decide what to think.
Yes, exactly. That is what the Stoics say. It's up to you what you want to think about. Most people do not understand that. You see, when you start worrying about something, it usually leads to worrying about that thing more than required. Seneca said, "One suffers more than necessary who suffers before it's necessary." He said that. So what does that mean? It means that your brain is something, an organ that loves to think. The people that conquer their minds are the ones who know what to think about and to what extent. But there's a small problem. The brain always will ask you to think about things that it wants, what it thinks are the best for you, and sometimes they might not be. You conquer your mind first, Stoics, according to Stoics, is by taking control of your thoughts and what you want your brain to think about. Because if you do not think about that, if you do not train your mind to do that, what will happen is it will continue to grab things from there, and then what it will do is it'll make you worry. When it has nothing to think about, it's going to worry about things that are not even there. And that is a problem. How many of us believe that being free, too free, leads to negative thinking? How many believe that? If you're too free, you'll start thinking about negative things. So why is that? Okay, what if I tell you to stop breathing? Can you?
For a while, yes.
Yeah, for a while, but eventually you will, right? The brain cannot stop thinking. So the first thing is you have to understand the brain, to conquer the brain. Understand its limitation. It wants to think. Now it's up to you what you want it to think. And it's up to you to tell it when to stop thinking for a while, just like you can stop breathing for a while. You can stop it thinking for a while. So what happens when you stop thinking for a while? Then another thing happens. As soon as you stop thinking, your brain gets worried about, what should I think about now? How about something positive? So at least if I think about something positive, I can think more of that, and this person is not going to tell me to shut up. You know? Have you ever thought about this thing that if you tell your brain to stop thinking, your brain itself would be worried. It will be like, hey, this person is just stopping me from thinking. What do I have to think about? So it'll let me think. I want to think, That's the thing. Your brain loves to think. Just give it positive things to think about. And also meaningful things. Let's say you want to apply for a job. Okay, you can think about that. Okay, so I'm applying for a job. What if I apply for the job and start worrying about, oh no, whether I'll get the job or not? Will I get the job? Will I get the job? What happens if I don't get the job? Okay, is that in your control? Is getting that job in your control, or is in the control of the people that you've sent them to? So should you think about that? What happens if you think about getting the job too much? What happens? What happens? Anybody? What happens if you think about getting the job and worry about getting the job or not? What happens?
You get anxious.
Yes, you get anxious. Why do you get anxious? Why do you get anxious?
Because that's not in your control.
That is not in your control, exactly. So if you have applied for a job, what are the things that are in your control at that time, after you've applied for a job?
Just a question.
You can just prepare for the job.
And when you prepare for the job, what do you think about most of the time? What is the thought process when you're preparing for the job? Assuming that they call you for an interview, what will you do?
Still in the back side of your mind, you're still thinking that, what if I don't get the job?
All right, let's say you expect that you will not get the job, right? What is the thing that you can do? Like, if you have applied for the job, what is the most positive thing that you can do during that time period? Let's assume that you will never get called for an interview, but what is the thing that you can tell your brain to do which will have a positive impact on your life? What will that be?
Remain hopeful.
No, hope according to the Stoics, it creates expectations. They don't recommend that. You can wish for it.
Let go.
Let go is detachment.
Yeah.
I'd say
Till the result
prepare. Stoics would say, okay, you have applied for a job. What can you do during that time which will make sure that once you're called for an interview, you'll get it? Your brain will have something to think about.
Search for another.
Searching, that's brilliant thing, searching for another. Because you'll be working on something positive. So you'll be working on something positive. And you can also prepare for the best outcome. Expect the worst outcome, prepare for the best outcome. That is one way, because your brain will always think about the negative outcome more than the positive outcome, unless you stop it from thinking about the negative outcome. And what can you do? You can tell your brain, listen, we will definitely not get this job, but I would like you to prepare in case we get the interview or another interview. We'll prepare. That will be useful in the future, So we are preparing for the future, whatever it might be. We are ready. We are ready. So this brings me to point number 1 that Marcus Aurelius said, whenever you wake up, expect everything bad to happen in your life that you can think about. Expect everything bad to happen. And regarding other people are negative, people are arrogant, people will say things to you that you don't like. Expect that because they don't know what right and wrong is. Just expect that everybody you meet, Everybody you meet has the potential to harm you. So what happens if I tell you every single thing that you thought about that you will do today, you will fail? What will you do then?
You will not get hurt.
Yes, but what happens when I tell you that what you are about to do, you will definitely fail in that? What is your response?
You will try not to fail, maybe.
No, you'll definitely fail. What will happen?
I'll just stop worrying
By
about it.
doing so,
You'll stop worrying about it because your brain likes certainty. Your brain will accept unhappiness over uncertainty. Remember that? The Stoics said that. The Stoics even said that, uncertainty. Your brain doesn't like uncertainty. It will choose to be it will choose unhappiness over uncertainty every single time. Every single time. So your problem, your brain's problem is that it doesn't like things that are not certain. So if I tell you that you will wake up in the morning and everything bad is going to happen to you, what will you think about then? You will think about this. Okay, fine. I will most likely fail in everything that I'll do. What can I salvage from that? So I'll fail. What can I do today which is in my power? Even if I have to fail. What can I do?
Face it positively.
To face it positively, exactly. What can I do to face that failure positively? So if you know that you are about to fail, you have to build up an arsenal to take that failure head on. It's very, in boxing, you know that you are a few rounds out. Why don't good boxers give up? Why don't they do that? They're like, let's save whatever we can. They have a purpose. They still have a purpose in failure. There was this story about this guy who was about to be executed. And he knew that he was falsely accused. Won't go in detail, but what he was doing is he was basically, because he was basically a Christian, so he started preaching people about the afterlife. That was his purpose until he was executed. He made his execution less miserable. Why? Because he had a purpose. Till the very end, he was talking about the afterlife and about how we'll have another chance and about the next world. He gave people hope. Now, what happens when you give people hope? What happens when you give people the illusion, let's say, that the next thing after this is going to be better than what you have right now? What happens when you do that? What happens if I tell you, don't worry, there's another thing coming for you? What's going to happen under the good thing that's coming? What happens? What is your thought process? If let's say, I tell you today that this thing you'll fail in, but there's another opportunity waiting for you. What's the thought process then?
It gives me peace, it gives me serenity.
Don't try to be obsessed with this life alone.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be obsessed, and there's another opportunity. So what happens when the brain thinks about the other opportunity?
Become happy?
They try to do their best as possible as they could in this life.
No, what happens is that when you...
I think we are not just talking about this life.
We're not-
It's just an example.
Example, like opportunity.
So, like it could be job or anything, any opportunity that's coming your way, whatever, however bad your present is, it's like thinking of something better that might come up. That
It makes the present less bitter.
Yes, exactly. It makes the presence less bitter. That's the thing. It makes the presence less bitter, and you think about the next thing. You start wishing for the next thing to present itself. Never wish for it to happen. So, the first step to conquering your mind is always to expect things to fail. Prepare for the good outcome. Expect things to fail, but prepare for the good outcome in case it might happen. That way, even if failure is inevitable, at least you'll fail less miserably. So another thing that I would like you to do from now on is to plan your day ahead so that there's some amount of certainty. You create an amount of certainty when you plan your day. I'm not telling you to be organized. I'm telling you to make the next day less miserable and purposeful. I'm going to wake up, I'm going to do this. If you've already told your brain we're going to do this, it'll not have time to think about things that will worry it. It'll not have time to do that. Make your life more purposeful. The purpose, even if your purpose is to just enjoy a football match, if you've planned for that, enjoy to the full, prepare your brain for it and tell it to shut up. Just tell it to shut up. This is what we'll do. You're not going to make me guilty about enjoying life. Your purpose can also be to enjoy life. But you have to train your brain to absolutely be in the moment and enjoy. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to fully enjoy that moment. Plan your day ahead so you create an amount of certainty. I'm not saying to be organized or you'll be more productive. No, I'm not talking about productivity. I'm talking about certainty. I'm talking about make things certain. And yes, it is true that if you plan your day, let's say, and something wrong can happen during that time, but you have done your job, you will rest satisfied that you did what you could to make the next day more predictable. That's the thing. Okay, so what does it mean to focus on the things that you can control? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Because there are something which are out of in our control.
All right? Please?
She said emotions. Well, it reminds me of one saying of General Montgomery. He was talking to his officers, and he said, doesn't matter, I think they've done something. Can we be heard now? Okay, we can be heard. Okay, he said that he was talking to his officers, and he said, what do you think is the most important and the least important thing in a battle? They gave various they give various inputs, like, I mean, this may be important, that may be important. He said that his reply was, the most unimportant thing in a battle is the outcome of the battle. Most unimportant thing is the outcome of the battle. The most important thing is how well you fought. That's the most important thing.
Anybody else? Again, he spoke about the outcome, so anybody else who wants to talk, say anything about what does it mean to focus on the things that you can control? What does it mean?
The things in which we can give our efforts.
Yeah.
Like there are some things which are not in our control, like our destiny or something else, which the nature has given us already. So by thinking that we can't control that,
Right.
so it's in vain to think about that. So we need to focus on the things in which we can give efforts, which we can choose what we can do.
Actually, yeah, you're absolutely correct. The story that was just told, it is basically what it means to focus on the things that you can control. The weapons that you have right now, the weapons that you're equipped with, it's up to you how you use them. The outcome doesn't matter. You can try your best. But sometimes trying your best is not enough. People say try your best and leave the results. Just don't worry about the results. That's not really a good way of saying things. What you should do is just change this. Try your best with what's given to you and see what happens. What does that mean? Try your best with the weapons that you have right now and then see what happens. Anybody?
Perhaps the sphere of your control grows with time. I mean, the tools you have right now may grow with time when you exercise them rightly. What I can pattern from it.
Actually, the tool you have right now is your present. You can control your present. So,
just forget the past and the future. Just focus on the
According to the Stoics, what means it that see what happens is that the outcome can be anything.
That it's not necessary for you to succeed.
When you use things that are, when you start using the weapons that are in your control to see what happens, you don't focus on the outcome. You're too busy trying to use the things that you have. And therefore, you remove the element of thinking about the outcome. And that's important. I'm not thinking about failure, I'm saying both success and failure. Don't think about them. So, what does it mean to have a life of purpose? Anybody explain what does it mean to have a purposeful or a meaningful life? What does it mean? I was expecting nobody to answer though, because it's been an answer that it hasn't been. Okay, let me tell you what Stoics would do. The list that you've created tonight, and put on some board or stored it on your mobile. That's the purpose of tomorrow, and that's it.
Can you repeat?
Yeah, write your goals for tomorrow. Right. When you wake up, that's your purpose. That's your purpose for the day. Does it simplify things?
So it's living just for a day at a time?
Yeah, at the end of the day, right? On the list, you have to create another list.
Okay. So you get along by doing it day by day.
Yeah.
It's not a week, month, or some cases 1 year.
So sir, basically the Stoics don't have like a long-term goals.
No, I'm just simplifying things. I'm not saying that you should do this. I'm saying that is it fair for me to say that if you create a list of things to do, and tomorrow when you wake up you say this is the purpose of today, is it fair? Does it simplify things?
Yes.
Yes.
Now expand that to 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's as simple as that.
I think you need a greater schema in which you have to work. It's not just as simple as a day or 2 or 3.
Yeah, of course
You
it's
need
not.
to have a universal meaning of life. which-
Oh, yes, universal meaning of life.
Yeah, you must have religious meaning as well. I mean, religion in terms of what you believe in.
Yeah, of course, you
You
should.
must have belief.
But doesn't it simplify life when you know what you're going to do or at least attempt to do the next day?
It does. It does. But for the most people, it's not sufficient, I guess.
And most people haven't tried. I mean, how many people do you know who have tried?
Sometimes I know that people who have depression, for instance, it's just not as simple as that for them. They
Of course
need
it's
some
not.
greater motivation to get out
Of course
bed
it's not.
and go on.
Depression is a disease.
But it's
It has to be treated.
yeah, it has to be.
We are here to conquer our mind. You know? Depression, sadness, suicidal thoughts, those need treatment. Yeah.
What's the core of that?
The
It
core-
starts with not being able to control your mind.
Well, depression, if it's
You
due
again
to
come back to
if depression is due to a clinical problem, it's not due to you conquering your mind.
We
Like-
all in our lives tend to go through depressive, sad phases.
Yes.
It doesn't make us diseased individuals.
No. I'm talking about the disease depression.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I'm not referring to that,
Okay.
nor did he.
Yeah.
As
The
what I
reason,
understand.
yes, the reason why you're sad is mainly because you can't conquer your mind or your thoughts are not. Basically, you're thinking about things that make you sad. Essentially, you are sad because you're thinking about things that make you sad. That's fair, right? Now, the Stoics also believe that external circumstances should not cause anything. Should not basically. You should not be sad because something external is making you sad. That's what the Stoics believe. And about the simplification, this is just the simplification of that. Plan your day, one day, move one day. This is a simplification. Of course, not everybody can do it, but it gives you an idea. It gives you an idea of what purpose is. Meaningful, whether what you're doing is meaningful, that's a different story. That other people will tell you whether what you're doing is meaningful or not. Because they're going to kind of like you for what you're doing if you're doing something meaningful. Or they'll start appreciating you, or for some reason you'll be saying like, this person, they were not like this. Why are they giving me so much attention? Like you'll see that when you start doing meaningful things. When you start, let's say you go to the store and you go with a positive mind and you are just, your thoughts are positive. Sometimes you'll even see the people that you are speaking to treat you in a different way, in a better way. You'll see that, especially when you're living a purposeful life. You'll be able to express that. How? I do not know how that works, but it works. Just like we do not know about many other things like what dark energy is. Okay. One thing that I would like to tell you, everybody over here, a reality, you're going to die. All of us are going to die. And things change. Remembrance of death is a core principle of Stoicism. Remembrance of death, remember that. All things are going to end. Just don't worry so much. Everything is going to just be done. You're worrying about things. Look at the universe, right? So big. What are we? Just a few human race, just a few years. The universe is so large. You're insignificant. Think about that for a second. Think about your worries, how insignificant your worries are compared to the universe. And think about that for a second. And then realize how weird it is that you're worrying about things. How weird it is. When there are so many people probably more talented than you probably, or maybe they are struggling more than you. If you remember that everything is going to die, everyone that you know is going to die, it will give you a sense of peace, because people say that death is the great equalizer. What I'd say is remember death and appreciate every single moment that you're spending here. Every single moment, because the more you worry, the more time you've wasted, then the more life you've wasted. So remember that. And also have a healthy fear towards death. When you start having a healthy fear towards death, what happens is that you are very, very stingy. You become stingy with your time. So stingy that if a worry comes, you just slap it and say, no, I don't have time for you. You know? Just learn how to slap worry and say, I don't have time for you, mate. I'm going to die in 40 years. You know how 40 years is nothing. I'm going to die in 50 years. Are you asking me to worry? Do you think I have time? Just slap the hell out of worry. Just say, what the hell? Why? Right? Things pass by quickly. Now, most of you have gone through, I assume most of you have gone through problems in life. Don't they go by like that? Once good times start, do you remember? Does it look like they went by like that? Has anybody ever experienced it? Yes. That when bad times, after bad times, when good times start, after a few years, you look back at them and you're like, I was really worried about those things, they passed. Has that ever happened to anybody? So things pass, you know? Things pass, and then you look at those things like a bad dream. Some people even forget. Like you ask them, oh, you've been through, I know friends that when I speak to them, I say, you've gone through hard times and difficult times. And they were like, yeah, we did. Yeah. What hard times exactly? So they forget. And you have to keep reminding yourself that hard times, first of all, the reason why you're the way you are right now, let's say you've gone through hell. The reason why you're here and still sane and still being able to communicate is because you do not think about those hard times a lot, because if you did, you would definitely be depressed and sad. You would definitely not be able to function properly if you keep remembering the hard times that that are in the past. You will not be able to function properly. Think about that for a second. If all of the things that went wrong in your life be dumped in your brain at once and you were to think about them, you will probably end up in a mental breakdown. So the reason why you don't think about those bad times or you forget about them is because those memories are buried by other memories that are being created by your brain. And that's how the brain works. So So you conquer your mind by telling your mind that, hey, you know these things that you're thinking about are going to get buried after 10 years, right? So the brain is going to say, yeah, they will be. So say, yeah, so how about we bury them right now? How does that sound? Okay. Okay, so destiny should not concern you, but how you react to fate and the things that are happening, those are the things that you need to, think about. So let's say there was this hunter. What was the hunter's name?
Keith Anderson.
Keith Anderson, yeah. Keith Anderson basically was a hunter, and it was kind of his destiny to be bit by a snake for just a while. You can say it could have been a destiny, but he didn't worry about it. What happened was that he was in his tent, very very famous hunter. He was lying down, and he had a blanket, and a snake just somehow made it to his tent, and then the snake took up its position. I do not know what that position is called. It was cobra. And he woke up. He was telling this in a bar or some other place. I don't remember what it was. But so they asked him, the people around him, were you ever scared in life? And he said, yeah, there was once I was sleeping and a snake just was on my chest, and I was sleeping, and I woke up and I saw the snake ready to basically bite me. And that he ended his story right there. And the people were like, then what happened? So I said, well, I just went back to sleep. I was like, damn it, I'm not gonna basically just sacrifice my sleep for the mere possibility that the snake is going to bite me. My sleep is important. Similarly, there was this guy who was being chased by this lion. And it could have been in his destiny to be eaten by a lion, so he jumped into a well without looking how deep the well was. That's the first mistake. Well, then again, if a lion is chasing you, I don't think you'll have enough time to look at how deep the well is, will you? Anyway, so he jumped into a well, and it was deep. So when he jumped into it, he realized that this well is deep. So he grabbed onto a branch that was, for some reason, at that particular time, very near. And when he grabbed the branch, he looked down and there were snakes in the well. Not only was the well deep, it had snakes in the well. Now, another thing added to destiny was that if he goes down there, he's going to be bitten by the snakes. Okay. So as long as he keeps hanging, he's going to be fine, right? Well, then a mouse started to appear. He's like, oh, this is a nice situation. How about I start eating the branch that this guy is in, that this guy is hanging on? And that guy was like, damn, I'm in a very tough situation here. So if I keep hanging, the mouse is going to eat the branch. I'm going to fall down, be eaten by the snakes. I can't climb up because there is a giant lion that wishes to eat me. Like, damn, I'm screwed, really. So, what happened was that well had a tree, and on that tree there was this big honeycomb. And honey was dripping from that. Right? Honey was dripping from that. And the honey started falling on the person's face. So what he did was he opened his mouth and he started enjoying the honey. He said, damn it, I'm going to die. Why not just enjoy and then die, right? So the lion got desperate during that time, and he was still hanging, the mouse was still eating, the snakes were still there. And he was like enjoying himself. He was like, yeah, I'm going to die. Better make my last moments a little bit meaningful by just enjoying the honey, the raw honey, the taste of raw honey. The lion got desperate, tried to reach for that person. Now the lion obviously did not know that had he waited, I mean, of course, he was hungry. He knew that if he falls down, he's not going to be, the lion will not be able to get that person. So the lion lunged into the well, and he probably did not know what balance is. The lion probably did not attend physics classes, so he fell into the well, broke its neck, and then that man could climb up the well and he was fine. Basically, he waited it out. He was unconcerned. He showed indifference to what destiny had in store for him. And he escaped. So, to conquer your mind, show indifference to whatever is going on, the things that might turn up against you. Because even according to Taoism and all of these, our Taoism has something called Wu Wei, the art of effortless action. And it also says that if you're indifferent to something, and even Stoics have got an entire category of something they call indifference, the more indifference you show, the more the other things get desperate to attack you and they end up making a mistake. And of course, there's no, like, it isn't scientifically proven, but it happens. I do not know why it happens, but it happens. Okay? So, another thing that you have to ask yourself is, are the things that you're worried about really that bad? Are they? Like, there was this freelancer who asked me this question, and I was like, do not reduce your prices, stay at $3,000. And he got an offer for $1,000, and I told him not to accept the job. So he said, well, I'm a little bit desperate. I told him, well, before that phone call arrived, were you making life work or not? Were you? I mean, before that $1,000 offer, were you making it work? So what makes you think that after you reject that call, you will not be able to make life work? So what happened was that after 2 months, he got the job at $3,000, not from another client, but he waited it out. Because if he started at $1,000, it would have taken him a long time to get to $3,000. Because people would be like, if he has worked at this rate, he will be able to work at that rate for a considerable amount of time. So that's the thing. You are making life work. Some of the things that you're worrying about because you want to improve life. That's something that you have to tell yourself immediately. You want to improve life. You're fine the way you are, but you want to improve life. But if improving life means that you are going to absolutely destroy your present, it's not worth it. Then improve life steadily or at a slower rate, but don't let it destroy your life. Don't let it destroy your current situation, because if that happens, then you'll not only ruin your life right now, you will also ruin whatever chance is in front of you, because you won't be able to think properly to get opportunities if they present themselves. That's what the Stoics, at least, that's what they say. Okay, another question that I have to ask you now, just you can close your eyes and think about this if you're going through this. Are you suffering more than necessary about anything? Just ask yourself this question. Are you suffering more than necessary about anything? If you think about something that's worrying you, just raise your hand if you think you're suffering more than necessary.
Not at all, but sometimes, yes, of course, it happens with us.
All right.
But it happens sometimes.
So, give me any logical reason why you should suffer more than necessary. As in, if you know that this is a situation in front of you, is it okay to suffer about things that may happen after that situation has passed? Is it fair? No, it's not, right? So stop your mind from suffering unnecessarily. Suffer as much as you have to. Don't increase it by creating these imaginary things that probably will not happen. Of course, you can think about these things that, oh, what's going to happen after 10 years? That's fine. You can. It's okay to suffer about things that can happen after 10 years. However, if for some reason you think it is illogical to think about what will happen after 11 years, then just keep it to 10 years. Don't think about the 11th year. Your suffering should even be logical, right? If you want to plan ahead for 5 years, have some logic behind it, because you will suffer, you will think about things, what will happen during those 5 years. Don't think about the 6th one. Just suffer as much as is necessary. Don't do that. Just keep your misery to a minimum. Because when I presented this idea, I was like, I will give them ideas about how they can conquer their mind and how they can, train themselves to suffer less. Stoicism never promised happiness. Stoicism only said that we'll make life less miserable if you apply our principles. And that's it. That's more realistic. Okay. So if you can't, if you're like, if you're in a situation where you can't do anything, just let fate lead you. It's going to lead you somewhere, even if it's your demise, let's say. Just instead of crying about it, instead of crying, okay, I'm being taken to be executed. Right, you are. What you're going to do? Is your crying or anything going to stop you from being executed, let's say? Or let's say, for some reason, the place that you live in now has no food and water. Is crying about it going to help you? Or is probably thinking about how you can escape this situation help you? Of course, you might fail. You might not be able to, yeah, please?
Yeah, the latter,
Yeah.
the other thing.
Yeah, so you can plan about things, but if they're not like, if fate does not have that in store for you, just accept it. I mean, yes, it is true that you may consider yourself a very important person and you are basically a human being and every human being has value, but also know that human beings die in very miserable ways. And a lot of people die in very miserable ways, and they, unfortunately, some people die with diseases, and some people are born with diseases which make their life probably more miserable than death. So, unfortunately, sometimes you will be challenged by fate, and fate might lead you to your demise. Just smile when you're going. Even if death comes to you, hey, say, "Hi, death. What's up? How are you doing? How's work?" Death is going to be say that you're the first person who's asked me this. How's work? Just ask death. How's work? How are things? Yeah, just ask them. At least At least when death comes, you don't have to pay him anything for the trip. So how can you stop thinking? As soon as your brain says, hey, you know what, this is going to happen, just say shut up. Like literally, it's that easy. Just say shut up. Just shut up. I'll deal with it later. I'm playing or I'm doing something, I'm cooking, I'm cutting onions, or I've got other things to worry about. Just learn how to tell your brain to shut up. It'll take a little bit of time. If you say shut up, I guarantee you in the next 4 seconds it's going to start thinking about something again. Tell it to shut up again. Just say shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. Just buzz off. Your brain has a voice. I'm pretty sure all of you have a voice in your brain, right? It tells you, hi ye hoga, hi wo hoga, ye hoga, ye cheez hogi. Just shut up, man. Just shut up. Just stop bothering me. Don't you have anything better to do? All right. Okay, so I already covered this. The brain is a thinking machine. Give it, in order to conquer your mind, you have to give it things which are positive, and it just wants to think. Your brain wants to think. Just if it's thinking about something, just tell it to come here, think about this instead. Don't think about this, think about this, because this is going to make both of us feel happy. And you, unfortunately, are in my head. You will do what I'll tell you to do. It's not going to be the other way around, okay? That's the deal. Otherwise, I'm not going to, I'm going to say bad things to you if there is an afterlife. I'm going to basically tell God that you made my life miserable. That's what I'm going to do. All right. Okay, so again, do not worry about more than what's required, really. That's basically the end. Just don't worry about more than what is required. If you unfortunately get fired from your job, and if you have 1 month of sustenance, let's say, then worry about how you can basically cut your expenses down immediately to make it last 1.5 months so you'll get more time. Don't worry about, you should worry about getting a job, but the thought process should be, if I have 1 month of sustenance, then what can I do with that 1 month of sustenance to make my life less miserable? That's it. Thank you very much. We are moving to the Q&A.
میرا کویشچن ہے کہ ایگزسٹینشیلزم اور اسٹوئسزم میں کیا فرق ہے؟
مجھے ایگزسٹینشلزم کا اتنا پتہ نہیں ہے، میں تو اسٹڈی نہیں کیا اس
کیونکہ وہ بھی اس پہ زیادہ فوکس کرتے ہیں کہ آپ کو اپنی ویلیوز خود بلڈ کرنی چاہیے، اور ناہیلزم سے کیسے اپنے آپ کو بچانا چاہیے.
کس سے کیا بچانا چاہیے؟
ناہیلزم جو ہے میننگ لیسنس.
مجھے یہ پتہ ہے کہ جارڈن پیٹرسن ایگزسٹینشلسٹ اپنے آپ کو کہتا ہے، مجھے صرف یہ پتہ ہے، میں نے اس کو کبھی اسٹڈی نہیں کیا. لیکن جو جیسے کہ ناہیلزم، حالانکہ ناہیلزم جو تھی وہ بیسکلی آرتھر شوپن ہاوا کہنے ادھر سے اسٹارٹ ہوئی تھی. ویسے تو لوگ اس کو کہتے ہیں، نیچے کو کہتے ہیں کہ وہ ناہیلسٹ تھا.
ایکچولی نیچے کی تنقید رہی ہے اسٹوئکس پہ بہت زیادہ.
جی
اسٹوئکس پہ بہت زیادہ تنقید بھی رہی ہے.
ہاں وہ اس نے کی تھی، وہ جو نیچے نے کی تھی بہت زیادہ کی تھی اس نے. وہ نیچر کی اس کی تھی نا بات کی وہ.
کیونکہ یہ تھنکس کہ جب آپ انٹلیکچولی آپ تھنک کر رہے ہوتے ہیں یا سوچ رہے ہوتے ہیں یا ٹروتھ کی جانب جا رہے ہوتے ہیں، تو اس میں بہت زیادہ احتمال اس چیز کا ہوتا ہے کہ آپ ڈسٹورٹیڈ تھاٹس سے بھی آپ کا پالا پڑے گا، اس قسم کی آگے پیچھے. تو آپ اپنے آپ کو اسٹوئک، جیسے اسٹوئکس اپنے آپ کو بالکل ایک سمت میں چلانے کی کوشش کر رہے ہوتے ہیں، لائک جتنا مجھے سمجھ میں آیا.
اچھا ویسے میں نا اسٹوئسزم آج تک بھی لوگ سمجھتے ہیں کہ وہ بدھزم سے اس کو کنفیوز کر دیتے ہیں. ٹھیک ہے، زیادہ تر جو لوگ ہیں نا وہ کہتے ہیں کہ ڈیٹیچمنٹ ہے، کہ اسٹوئسزم از اباؤٹ ڈیٹیچمنٹ فرام. کافی لوگ ایسا سمجھتے ہیں کہ ایموشن سے ڈیٹیچمنٹ ہے یا ایک ہی اس کی ڈائریکشن ہے. ایسی بات نہیں ہے. اسٹوئکس سمجھتے ہیں اس بات کو کہ اگر آپ جیسے اوبر میچ کا جو کانسیپٹ تھا نیچا کا، اسٹوئکس ایکچولی کہتے ہیں کہ اگر آپ اچھے انسان ہیں، آپ کو زیادہ بلکہ آپ کو کوشش کرنی چاہیے سوشل اسٹیٹس کے اندر کلائم کرنا، کیونکہ اگر آپ اچھے ہیں تو آپ دوسروں کے ساتھ اچھا کریں گے. یعنی کہ وہ سمجھتے ہیں اس چیز کو کہ آپ کے پاس پاور ایکچولی ہونی چاہیے. وہ بس یہ کہتے ہیں کہ obsession نہیں ہونی چاہیے. بیسیکلی سینسزم اور اسٹوئسزم میں فرق یہ تھا نا کہ انڈیفرنس جو تھے ان کے، کہ یہ پیسے کے پیچھے بھاگنا یا یہ جو یعنی کہ لو لائف اپنی ٹھیک کرنا، یہ انڈیفرنس کے اندر آتا تھا. سینکس کہتے تھے بالکل ہی یعنی کہ ان سے ڈیٹیچ ہو جاؤ، کہ پیسوں کے پیچھے بالکل بھی نہیں بھاگنا، لو لائف بالکل بھی نہیں آپ کی ہونی چاہیے. اسٹوئکس کا یہ ہر چیز ماڈریشن میں ہونی چاہیے. ہر چیز اس طرح ہونی چاہیے کہ کہیں یہ نہ ہو کہ آپ اس کے پیچھے اتنا زیادہ بھاگیں کہ آپ جو ہے وہ اپنی کرنٹ لائف کو ڈسٹروائے کر دیں. جہاں تک ایکزسٹینشلزم کی بات ہے، میں اس کو اسٹڈی ایکچولی نہیں اتنا زیادہ کیا ہے، لیکن اسٹوئسزم میں بھی کسی حد تک ناہیلزم ہے. اس کے اندر یہ ہے کہ یہ یعنی کہ لائف جو ہے کسی حد تک میننگ لیس وہ سمجھتے ہیں کہ ہے، کہ آپ کو خود میننگ جو ہے وہ یہ میننگ جو ہے آپ کو ایڈ کرنا ہے. اور وہ یہ سمجھتے ہیں کہ ایک جو اسٹوئک فلاسفرز یہ بھی کہتے ہیں کہ لائف از میننگ لیس، دیٹ از دا ریزن وائی وی آر رسپانسبل فار دا گڈ دیٹ وی کین ڈو. آل آف دا گڈ دیٹ وی کین ڈو وی شوڈ ڈو بیکاز لائف از میننگ لیس. یہ بھی ایک کچھ اسٹوئک فلاسفرز کہتے ہیں. تو انفارچونیٹلی میں آپ کا اصلی سوال کا جواب دے سکتا کیونکہ مجھے ایگزسٹینشلزم کا اتنا پتہ نہیں ہے. تو اٹ ول بی لائک
شکریہ.
تھینک یو.
تھینک یو. اسٹوئکس جو ہیں وہ لائف کو کیسے دیکھتے ہیں؟
وہ لائف کو دیکھتے کیسے ہیں؟ سوری کسی اور طرح کی سوال آپ پوچھ سکتے ہیں.
مطلب یہ کہ جو لائف ہے، ظاہر ہے جتنے فلاسفیز ہیں انکلوڈنگ ریلیجیس فلاسفیز، وہ لائف کو ایک ڈیفینیشن میں لے کے آتے ہیں. اگر ہم ریلیجیس فلاسفی کی بات کریں تو وہ کہتے ہیں کہ جی لائف ایک امتحان ہے، ایک ٹیسٹ ہے، اس کے بعد ایک آفٹر لائف. اور سم ٹائمس یہ بھی ہمیں کہا جاتا ہے کہ وہ آفٹر لائف زیادہ امپورٹنٹ ہے. تو یہ جو اسٹوئکس ہیں ان کا ظاہر ہے ایک لائف گزارنے کے اوپر یہ بات کرتے ہیں اور اس کو جوڑتے ہیں اچھی سوچ سے. آپ اچھا سوچیں گے، بہتر سوچیں گے تو آپ کی لائف اچھی گزرے گی. بٹ واٹ اباؤٹ دا لائف اٹ سیلف؟
اچھا اسٹوئکس جو ہے نا وہ بیسکلی لائف کو، جو انہوں نے کوئی اس کا ڈائریکٹ وہ نہیں کہا ہے کہ ڈائریکٹلی انہوں نے ایسی کوئی بات نہیں کی ہے کہ لائف کی یعنی کہ لائف کا پرپس یا لائف کیا ہے. وہ یہ کہتے ہیں کہ یہ جو ساری جو چیزیں ہیں اٹس پارٹ آف نیچر. انہوں نے بس یہ کہا کہ نیچر ہے، کہ لائف از نیچر، یعنی کہ لائف از اے کانسیکوینس آف نیچر آف دا سسٹم آف تھنگس. ان کی بھی دیٹس واٹ دے بلیو. لائک اٹس لائک یو آر بورن بیکاز اٹ ہیپنڈ. یعنی کہ اٹ از بیسکلی دیٹ ٹو پیپل وانٹیڈ ٹو ہیو اے کڈ اینڈ یو آر بورن، دیٹس اٹ. یعنی کہ وہ دیٹس ایز سمپل، دیٹس سمپلیفائنگ تھنگس. اسٹوئکس نے لیکن ویسے ان کا کوئی ایسی بات ایسا کی نہیں ہے کہ لائف کا پرپس کیا ہے یا کیا نہیں ہے. وہ یہ بھی ویلیوز بھی وہ صرف یہ ریکمینڈ کرتے ہیں کہ جو ان کی جو 4 اسٹوئک پرنسپلس ہیں ان کے اوپر انسان کو زیادہ غور کرنا چاہیے. تو اس سے جو ہے وہ لائف لیس مزریبل ہوگی. وہ یہ نہیں کہتے کہ آپ کی تھاٹس جو آپ کی لائف اچھی بنا دیں گی، وہ یہ کہتے ہیں کہ آپ کی اچھی تھاٹس لیس مزریبل بنائیں گی. یہ فرق ہے. Stoicism.
Sir, what are the most famous books regarding Stoicism everybody should read?
Mark-
And secondly, do you have any idea who and where this Stoicism have started?
Yes. Zeno started it. I do not remember which year, but Zeno was the Greek philosopher who started it. I believe it was because he did not like cynicism. I mean, I didn't read. I mean, I did read, but I don't remember it properly. So Zeno started it, and it was the reason why it's called Stoicism was because where Zeno used to teach his students, that place was called Sto. So they became Stoics, and then it became Stoicism.
All right.
And books, Lectures from a Stoic, which is by Seneca, and Meditations, which is by Marcus Aurelius.
Meditation by Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah.
सर जहाँ तक मैंने थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ा है स्टोइसिज्म के बारे में, उसमें से एक चीज़ ये भी है कि आप इमोशनली जो है वो इतना एक्सप्रेसिव ना हो. भले कोई अच्छी चीज़ आए तो इतना कोई खुश होने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, ना ही जो आप इतना कोई अगर कोई बुरी चीज़ आ जाए तो उस पर उदास होने की ज़रूरत है. डजंट दैट मेक यू सॉर्ट ऑफ कोल्ड पर्सन? आप फिर बाकी लोगों के साथ जो कहते हैं कि आप शेयर करें वरीज, ठीक है, आप लोगों के साथ टच में आएँ, इमोशनल एक्सप्रेशन करेंगे तो आप जो है ना समाज में आएंगे और बाकी जो लोग आपसे रिलेट कर पाएंगे. तो ये कितना मुश्किल है कि स्टोइक के लिए ये चीज़ डील करना, ऑन वन हैंड टू बी इन स्टे इन कनेक्शन विद द पीपल, ऑन अदर हैंड कीपिंग इट टू योर ओन सेल्फ.
Yeah, it's actually ये बात जो है ये मीम है. It's a meme. ये मीमेबल है, इसकी वजह से किया गया था. स्टोइक्स कहते हैं कि सिर्फ आपके इमोशंस आपको अफेक्ट नहीं करनी चाहिए, आपकी थिंकिंग को अफेक्ट नहीं करना चाहिए. आपको 100%. ये जो प्लेटो है वो अच्छा खासा रोमांटिक इंसान था, बहुत रोमांटिक था, ठीक है. वो बेसिकली ये जो स्टोइक्स की जो स्टोइसिज्म का जो मसला हुआ है कि लोगों ने ना इसको बुद्धिज़्म के साथ बहुत ज़्यादा कंफ्यूज कर दिया, ठीक है. वो ये कहते हैं कि जो स्टोइक्स हैं इमोशनल रोबोट्स होते हैं, ऐसी बात नहीं है. वो सिर्फ ये कहते हैं कि अपने आप को ट्रेन करो इस तरह ताकि आप जो हैं वो ट्रेनिंग का हिस्सा है आपके, कि आप जो हैं वो अच्छी चीज़ों को और बुरी चीज़ों को एग्जैक्टली वैसी सेम तरह ट्रीट करो. उनका बेसिकली कहने का मतलब ये था कि अच्छी चीज़ हो फाइन इट हैपेंड, बुरी चीज़ हो फाइन इट हैपेंड, ये चीज़ थी उनकी. ये जो आजकल जो स्टोइक्स के बारे में जो बन गया, दैट्स एक्चुअली अ मीम. वो ये बात सही नहीं है, क्योंकि काफ़ी दफ़ा स्टोइक्स ने एंगर का भी इज़हार किया है. जो एरिस्टोटल वाज़न्ट एग्जैक्टली अ स्टोइक्स, लेकिन काफ़ी इन्फ्लुएंस था उनसे. उसने अलेक्जेंडर को कह दिया था कि पूरी दुनिया फतह करो, ठीक है. सेनेका ने जो लेटर्स लिखे थे उसके अंदर अपनी अम्मी से प्यार का इज़हार किया था, ठीक है. तो ये ऐसी बात नहीं कि वो इमोशनलेस होते, वो एक मीम है बेसिकली. वो सिर्फ स्टोइसिज्म को कूल दिखाने के लिए था कि वो बेसिकली कैसे होते हैं. क्योंकि ये बात वैसे सच है कि स्टोइक्स कहते हैं कि ऐसा इंसान को होना चाहिए कि उसके ऊपर आके पत्थर भी यानी कि पहाड़ भी फेंक दो तो वो आ तक ना करें. बेसिकली ये बात है. तो ये बात है. वो इट्स अ मीम. पीपल हैव गॉट अ रॉन्ग कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ स्टोइसिज्म. They say that you should be detached, although the actual thing is that you should be detached from things that have no meaning. Like you should be indifferent to them. If they're there, fine. If not, then fine.
सर क्वेश्चन ये है कि आपने कहा था कि हाउ टू कंट्रोल योर थॉट. तो हम लोग तो अपने थॉट्स को कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन हम पॉजिटिव सोच सकते हैं ना. लेकिन आपने कहा कि हम लोगों का जो ब्रेन है वो बहुत वाइज है, हम करता है कि ये होगा वो होगा, है ना, आपने कहा था. लेकिन हम लोग अक्सर सोचते यही है कि कि क्या होगा और क्या होगा, लेकिन हम लोग इसे कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते. तो हम लोग ऐसा क्या करना होता है?
इसे कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं. उसकी वजह ये कि मैं अगर आपको कहूँगा कि देखें आप कंट्रोल इसको कर सकते हैं, उसकी वजह ये है कि अगर फ़र्ज़ करें कि मैं आपको कहूँ कि आप किसी चीज़ नेगेटिव चीज़ के बारे में कह रही हैं, ठीक है, कर रही हैं, तो क्या होता है कि अगर आपको कोई अच्छा दोस्त होगा वो आपको टॉपिक चेंज करने की कोशिश करेगा. अगर वो अच्छा दोस्त होगा, अगर क्योंकि दोस्त अमूमन यू आर लकी इफ़ यू फाइंड अ गुड फ्रेंड, वो किसी तरीके से आपकी थॉट प्रोसेस को चेंज कर देगा, ठीक है. थॉट प्रोसेस, वो जो नेगेटिव थिंकिंग है उसको चेंज कर देते हैं. वो कैसे करते हैं? बाय स्लोली एंड स्टेडली मैनिपुलेटिंग यू इनटू थिंकिंग अबाउट अदर थिंग्स, नॉट बाय डिस्ट्रैक्शंस. डिस्ट्रैक्शंस आर टेरेबल वे. आई थिंक डिस्ट्रैक्शंस इंसान के पास ज़िंदगी में नहीं होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि जब वो नेगेटिव थॉट वापस आती है तो और ज़ोर से आती है. तो वो क्या करते हैं कि पॉजिटिव जो चीज़ें हैं उसकी तरफ जो है वो थॉट प्रोसेस लेके आ जाते हैं. तो अगर कोई और इंसान कर सकता है, आपको अपने आप को ट्रेन करना होता है इस चीज़ के लिए कि अगर आपकी जो آپ جو چیز کے بارے میں سوچیں وہ نیگیٹو ہے تو آپ اسے پازیٹیو تھاٹ سے بیری کیسے کر سکتے ہیں؟ یہ ہر کسی انسان کا ڈفرینٹ میتھڈ ہوتا ہے. لیکن اس کی سمپل سی بات ہے, ایک چیز یہ ہے کہ آپ سوچیں جس چیز کے بارے میں آپ سوچ رہی ہیں وہ ایکچولی شاید اتنی بری ہے نہیں جتنا کہ آپ سوچ رہی ہیں. سب سے
لیکن مطلب کہ سر آپ نے کہا برین جو ہے وہ مطلب کہ یہ ہوگا وہ ہوگا, تو ہم لوگ یہ زیادہ سوچتے بھی ہیں مطلب کہ ہوگا.
وہ ضرورت سے زیادہ سوچتے ہیں نا. دیکھیں ایک وقت آپ کو سوچنا چاہیے کہ ہاں یہ ہوگا, اس سے زیادہ اور کیا ہوگا شاید اس کی بھی ضرورت نہیں ہے. آپ جب آپ اسٹوئکس جو ہیں وزڈم کے بارے میں بہت زیادہ کہتے ہیں نا, وہ کہتے ہیں سوچو ضرور چیزیں جو کہ خراب ہیں, ضرورت سے زیادہ نہ سوچو. یعنی کہ ابھی بس ادھر تک ہی ٹھیک ہے. یعنی کہ فرض کریں کہ آپ کے امتحان ہیں, آپ ان امتحان کے بارے میں فکر کرو, اس سے اگلے امتحان کے بارے میں فکر کرنے کی ابھی کیا ضرورت ہے؟
نہیں مطلب کہ کچھ لوگ مطلب کہ کہتے ہیں کہ مطلب کہ فیوچر مطلب کہ کچھ لوگ کے پرابلمس مطلب کہ ہوتی ہے کہ آپ اسٹڈی کرو اور مطلب کہ اپنے فیوچر کو بناؤ, مطلب کہ مطلب کہ کوشش کرو, یہ کرو. مطلب کہ ہم لوگ پھر وہ لے کر آتے کہ مطلب کہ مجھے تو یہ بننا ہے اور یہ کرنا ہے. ہم لوگ بہت سے سوچتے ہیں اور یہ کیوں نہیں, مطلب کہ بہت زیادہ سوچ لیتے ہیں. اور مطلب کہ میرا فیوچر کیا ہوگا اگر میں نے یہ نہیں پڑھا اور وہ نہیں کیا, اور میرے ساتھ کیا ہوگا اگر میں نے یہ ایگزام فیل کیا تو میرے مطلب کہ ہم لوگ
ہاں تو غلط سوچتے ہیں نا بھائی. اگر فرض کہ آپ نے ڈاکٹر بنا ہے, اب ابھی کیا کر سکتے ہیں ڈاکٹر کی طرف, یعنی کہ اس ڈائریکشن میں جانے کے لیے اگر آپ اپنا کچھ کر رہے ہیں, جو بھی آپ کر رہے ہیں ڈاکٹر بننے کے لیے, فرض کریں کیا آپ کا یہ جو آپ کر رہے ہیں امتحان پاس کر رہے ہیں یا ایڈمیشن لے رہے ہیں, اس سے زیادہ اس کے بارے میں فکر کرنا کیا لاجیکل ہے؟ آپ مجھے خود ہی بتائیں کہ اگر جو آپ کے پاس وہ چیز آئی ہی نہیں ہے, ہاں آپ کو پتہ ہے کہ اس امتحان کے بعد یہ امتحان ہوگا, کیا کبھی آپ نے اس چیز کے بارے میں فکر کی ہے کہ اس کا سلیبس کیا ہے, یا تو مجھے اس کی پہلے سے پریپریشن کر دینی چاہیے؟ کبھی ایسا ہوا ہے؟
میں مطلب کہ جب کوئی ایگزام ہوتا ہے نا تو میں ان کے بارے میں مطلب کہ سوچتی ہوں کہ مطلب کہ مجھے کیسے کرنا ہے اور تیاری کیسی کرنی ہے. لیکن میں مطلب کہ یہ سوچتی ہوں کہ اگر میں نے کیا اور فیل ہو گئی یا یہ ہوا تو تب ہم لوگ تو مزید بھی سوچنا چاہیے کہ اس کا رزلٹ کیا
ہاں
ہونا
تو آپ فیل
چاہیے.
ہو سکتی ہیں, لیکن اگر فرض کریں کہ آپ نے آپ کی تیاری جتنی آپ کر سکتی ہیں اتنی آپ نے کر لی ہے, اگر آپ فیل ہو گئے تو فیل ہو گئی, یعنی کہ ٹھیک ہے نا, آپ نے اپنی تو پوری کر لی ہے کوشش. اپنی کوشش پوری کرنے کے بعد بندہ کیا کر سکتا ہے؟ آپ مجھے خود ہی بتائیں کہ لاجکلی آپ کے سامنے جو تیاری ہے اس کے علاوہ آپ کر کیا سکتی ہیں؟ زیادہ سوچنے سے کیا ہوگا؟ یعنی کہ اگر آپ نے پورا کا پورا کر لیا ہے, تیاری آپ نے فل کر لی ہے, اس کے بعد آپ کر کیا سکتی ہیں؟ مجھے بس یہ بتا دیں. آؤٹ کم تو آپ کے ہاتھ میں نہیں ہے. یعنی فرض کریں کہ آپ نے اپنی طرف سے تیاری اچھی کی ہے, لیکن کسی وجہ سے جو ایگزامنر کا موڈ خراب تھا, اس کے بارے میں تو آپ کچھ بھی نہیں کر سکتی.
لیکن ہم لوگ مطلب کہ چوٹ تو ہو سکتی ہے, مطلب کہ ہرٹ ہو سکتے ہیں نا, مطلب پھر یہ مطلب کہ ہم لوگوں کے مطلب پھر ہم لوگ سوچتے ہیں, پھر نیگیٹو تھاٹس لے کر آتے ہیں پھر کہ یہ کیوں ہوا وہ کیوں ہوا.
ہاں وہ تو ہوتی ہے, ہونی بھی چاہیے.
اور ہم
لیکن
لوگ
بات اصل میں یہ کہ ہاں ہرٹ ہوتا ہے انسان, ٹھیک ہے, تو اگر آپ ہرٹ ہوئی ہیں تو کیا کر سکتی ہیں کہ وہ کوشش کریں, اگر آپ ہرٹ ہوئی ہیں اس چیز کو کیسے بہتر کیا جا سکتا ہے, اپنے آپ کو کیسے بہتر کیا جا سکتا ہے کہ دوبارہ بندہ نہ ہرٹ ہو. اگر پھر بھی ہو پھر ریوائز کرے انسان کہ اس کو اپنے آپ کو کیسے بہتر کیا جا سکتا ہے کہ پھر ہرٹ نہ ہو. لائف ایسی یہی چیز ہے. مسئلہ اس چیز کا کہ لوگ جب ہرٹ ہوتے ہیں تو ان کا جو ریکوری پروسیس ہوتا ہے, کچھ لوگوں کا 1 ہفتہ ہوتا ہے, کچھ لوگوں کا 1 مہینہ ہوتا ہے, اسٹوریز کا 1 دن ہوتا ہے یا کچھ گھنٹے ہوتے ہیں کہ بس ہو گیا, صحیح ہے, ٹھیک ہے, ہو گیا. اب کیا ہم نے تو اپنی پوری کوشش کی تھی نا, کیا زیادہ سے زیادہ کیا ہوگا, 40 سال 50 سال بعد میں مر جانا, بات ختم.
اگر اپارچونیٹی صرف ایک ہی ہوتی پھر
تو بس گئی, ختم. بس مجھے بھی زندگی میں ایک ہی دفعہ اپرچونیٹیز آئی تھی, کبھی بار بھی آئی تھی, اور میں نے جو ہے وہ لائن کے اندر میں نے ایسی اپرچونیٹیز کو مس کیا ہے کہ اب میں سوچتا ہوں کہ میں کیوں ان اپرچونیٹیز کو مس کیا, بس کر دیا بھائی. آئی ایم 1 in 8 billion, کیا مسئلہ, کیا ہوا, واٹس رانگ؟ I mean, all the things جتنے میں لوگ میں دیکھتا ہوں کہ they are all prosperous, the human race will be extinct probably one day. It's not that big of a deal. Take it easy. Enjoy what you have. Live life, smile, have some biryani with raita. And perhaps some achar. Yeah.
جو ابھی ساری گفتگو ہوئی ہے اس کو اگر एक जुमले में समाया जाए जो अभी क्वेश्चन आंसर हो रहा था, कंट्रोल व्हाट यू कैन एंड इग्नोर द रेस्ट, एंड दैट लीड्स मी टू वेरी फेमस सेइंग दैट इज़ नोन एज प्रेयर फॉर सेरेनिटी. आपकी नज़र से गुजरी होगी. ग्रांट मी द सेरेनिटी टू एक्सेप्ट द थिंग्स आई कैन नॉट चेंज, द करेज टू चेंज द थिंग्स आई कैन, एंड विजडम टू नो द डिफरेंस. ये तो इसको तो मेरा ख्याल है एक सदी हुई होगी इस कोटेशन को सामने आए हुए, लेकिन जो स्टोइक विजडम है ये तो कोई 2000 बरस पहले यही बात अपने रंग में कह रहा है.
Is it slightly old? Very slightly.
बट ज़ाहिर उस जो चीज़ें आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते, जो आपके इख्तियार में नहीं है, उस पर मज़ीद सोच के क्या आप अपना खून जलाने वाली बात है. बट टू नो द डिफरेंस कि क्या मैं चेंज कर सकता हूँ और क्या मैं नहीं कर सकता हूँ, दैट नीड्स विजडम. एनीवन एल्स? आप थोड़ा सा
मुझे उनका नाम तो याद नहीं. ज़िंदगी की क्या कीमत हो सकती है, जो ज़िंदगी का पहला तजर्बा है, खुद यही ज़िंदगी है. इसकी इंग्लिश में शायद आप लोग बता सकते हैं कि व्हाट द इंग्लिश इसकी आप बना रहे हैं. इसकी उर्दू में क्या किया था मैंने यही बोल दिया. ये ज़िंदगी की क्या कीमत हो सकती है, जो कि ज़िंदगी का पहला तजर्बा खुद यही ज़िंदगी है.
Okay. Well said. Thank you. देखिए आपके कंट्रोल में है कि आप सवाल पूछ सकते हैं.
अच्छा, आई वांटेड यू टू कमेंट ऑन द बोर्डम थिंग, बिकॉज हमारा जो थॉट पैटर्न है, हम जब भी फ्लक्स में रहते हैं, जब भी काम करते रहते हैं, तो हम उस वक्त देयर आर हाई चांसेस वी आर पॉजिटिव, वी आर मोर प्रोडक्टिव. लेकिन जब आप थॉट प्रोसेस को एंड कर दें, ओके, यू आर सिटिंग फ्री, there are higher chances that you're going to get negative thoughts, you're going to get unnecessary thoughts. There's a lot of background noise at that point of time. Okay? How to address that and still have that silence time, because we cannot function all the time, we cannot be hyperactive all the time.
Yeah.
But how about having a peaceful, calm time without having this, how to conquer your mind at very much that point of time. बिकॉज उस वक्त आपको कोई थॉट नेसेसरी करने की भी ज़रूरत नहीं है. समटाइम्स इट्स जस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट टू हैव दैट काम टाइम टू योर सेल्फ. व्हाट टू डू एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, हाउ टू बी ओके विद द बोर्डम, दैट्स समथिंग.
You have to train for that. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen overnight. देखिए ना, असल में पता है क्या बात है, आपको अपने आप को इंस्पायर करना होता है. Sometimes you have to be your inspiration if there's nobody else to tell this to you. You want to be at peace so you can be better at what you're doing in the future. That should be your inspiration. You see, you have to train this. You have to basically tell yourself, and it's not that when you're free. आप जो हो वो एक तो बात ये कि मैंने जो आजकल जो problem, in fact मैं I'll explain why I think that Stoicism has kind of helped me. If you're thinking about meaningful things, you'll never get bored. Meaningful things and purposeful things, if you have those, you never get bored. फर्ज करें कि मैं फ्री टाइम में भी जब मैं लेटा होता हूँ तो मैं सिर्फ यही सोच रहा हूँ, बिकॉज आई एम अ प्रोग्रामर, आई एम अ गेम डेवलपर, मैं ये सोच रहा हूँ कि अच्छा मैंने जो ये चीज़ की थी, क्या मैं इसको अगर इस तरीके से करता, शायद अगले दिन जो है मैं ये कोड को इधर से इधर लेके आऊँगा तो शायद ये जो है बेहतर फंक्शन करेगा. बोर्डम के अंदर भी कुछ ना कुछ मैं एक मीनिंगफुल चीज़ सोच रहा हूँ जिसकी वजह से नेगेटिव चीज़ें नहीं मेरे ज़हन में आ रही होती. उसके अलावा जहाँ तक नथिंगनेस की बात है कि यू वांट टू एंटर स्टेट ऑफ नथिंगनेस, उसके लिए ट्रेनिंग चाहिए होती है. जो रोगन के एक जो रोगन की पॉडकास्ट के अंदर एक आया था इंसान जिसने ये कहा था कि जब वो नथिंगनेस की स्टेट में जाता है, देन ही कैन जस्ट लाइक he basically and he tells his mind to just completely turn off. He kind of starts floating in the air, like that happens, like he feels high without actually taking any drugs. You have to train yourself for that, but then you have to listen. People say that I do not know whether this is true for you. People think that when they're not doing anything, they are being useless. Sometimes they think that, right? And the reason why negative things at that time happen because people are not trained to enjoy boredom. There's also a thing that you can actually enjoy boredom. There's a thing You can enjoy just lying down, doing nothing after working hard. Just lie down, enjoy that. Have this. Enjoy this moment that you have a ceiling that you're underneath. The bed is comfortable. Probably just have this ASMR. There are ASMR videos that you can watch, or ASMR sounds like the sound of a fan blowing. वो भी sounds होती हैं, put them in your ear, relaxing sounds. Or what you can do is you can basically have this thought in your brain, create an imagination that you're lying down and that bed is inside of a spaceship with that sound. तो वो एक बड़ी अच्छी feeling होती है, because at that time you're relaxing. आप कभी बार ये भी कर सकते हैं कि you can imagine yourself being in, let's say, a futuristic 5-star spaceship, और उसकी sounds आप वो लगा सकते हैं उसके अंदर. There are many ways to enjoy boredom. Being doing nothing and just enjoying being in an imaginary world where everything is fine, everybody's smiling, everybody is successful and stuff. Those kind of things. When you start enjoying those things, manifesting things, you'll be fine. But you have to train yourself to enjoy boredom. It's not going to happen overnight. In fact, I enjoy boredom a lot. मैं तो कहता हूँ कि बहुत ज़्यादा चीज़ें ज़हन में चल रही होती हैं. जब मुझे कोई टाइम मिलता है पीस का, I'm like, इससे बेहतर कोई चीज़ नहीं है. काश 1,000 साल तक मैं और कर सकता होता. Sometimes that happens. It's difficult. You have to train yourself.
Sir, how does you practice Stoicism in your daily life, and how does it helps you?
Stoicism, it helps me in a lot of ways. Can you narrate down? यानी कि क्योंकि मैं तो फिर शाम तक हम बैठे रहेंगे.
I meant to say that does it have really changed your life in any point of view in your life?
Oh yes, it has changed my life. It has changed my life.
Can you please share with us?
Okay, so I'm here talking to all of you, trying to help make better, not make better, I mean trying to help you by explaining Stoicism so hopefully I can help you feel less miserable in the future. And how has it helped me? I believe I'm doing something useful. That's one of the things that I'm starting to do something useful, which I wouldn't do before. I mean, at one time I was very bitter and I did not like talking to people, and I did not enjoy human existence. I still don't, but less. I still don't like human existence. Although I would say that it isn't that I'm like, I don't worry, I do. In fact, recently the problem is that I've stopped focusing. I mean, I want to focus on my work. I'm not as productive as I used to be because I'm worrying about things which really I shouldn't be worrying about. If I wasn't into Stoicism, I would probably be in a corner in my room where all the lights would be out, and I would just be having a blank expression on my face, depressed and miserable. So I'm here in front of you. That is itself. क्योंकि अभी जिस किस्म की जैसे कि worries हो सकती थी मेरी, वो जैसे ही होता कि I would be pretty miserable. तो I'm less miserable. सबसे पहले तो बात ये है, लेकिन of course हर इंसान को अपने ऊपर काम करना पड़ता है. I'm not as productive as I want to be. काम से थोड़ा सा focus हट गया है. लेकिन मैंने फिर वो, हालांकि Stoicism का concept नहीं है, लेकिन उसके अंदर थोड़ा बहुत कुछ है कि वो वे practice करता है इंसान. The art of effortless action, which is the more I want to work, the more I'll work less. यानी कि जितना मैं कहूँगा हाय मुझे ये करना है, मुझे आज काम करना है, उतना मैं कोशिश करूँगा, उतना ही काम मुझसे नहीं होगा. तो I'm like, damn it, ठीक है, काम नहीं हो रहा, ठीक है, बस देखी जाएगी, नहीं होता काम. तो जब मैं ऐसा सोचता हूँ, काम होना शुरू हो जाता है खुद ब खुद ही. क्लाइंट्स हैं वो कहते हैं ठीक है, जितना काम किया सही है, हम लोग इसके पैसे आपको दे रहे हैं. पहले फिर ऐसा होता है कि मैं कहता हूँ क्लाइंट को प्लीज़ भाई ये काम अप्रूव कर दो. जब मैं कहता हूँ ठीक है काम नहीं अप्रूव हो रहा, ये लो अपना सोर्स कोड, जाओ, कहता है नहीं हम लोग काम करते हैं, चलो.
Great, sir. Sir, if you have to say the crux of today's entire session regarding Stoicism in one line, what that would be, so that we can take away with us?
Tell your brain to shut up if it's bothering you. Or slap it. Not literally, please don't do that, you'll get a concussion.
سر میرا کوشچن یہ ہے کہ یہ فلاسفر کیا ہے اور یہ فلاسفی ہمارے لائف میں کیا رول پلے کرتی ہے؟
Do you want me to repeat like everything that I just said from the very start? Stoicism ایک پریکٹیکل فلاسفی ہے جس کے چار پرنسپلس ہیں جس کو وزڈم، ٹیمپرنس، جسٹس اینڈ کریج کے اوپر یہ بیسڈ ہے. باقی ساری جو آپ کی چیزیں ایجوکیشن، لو لائف، گیٹنگ میریڈ، دا پرسیوٹ آئی مین ڈوئنگ تھنگس ٹو گیٹ رچ، سوشلائزنگ ایوری تھنگ، یہ ان ڈفرینس میں آتی ہیں. جبکہ وائسز جو ہیں وہ ان چیز کا اپوزٹ ہے کہ انسان کو فلش نہیں ہونا چاہیے، انسان کو بد دماغ نہیں ہونا چاہیے، اس کو جو ہے وہ زیادہ اپنی ٹیمپر پہ کنٹرول کرنا چاہیے، اس کو کسی چیز کے پیچھے زیادہ بھاگنا نہیں چاہیے، اور انسان کو جو ہے وہ ہمیشہ جسٹ ہونا چاہیے، یعنی کہ انصاف پسند ہونا چاہیے. تو یہ بات ہے. تو فلاسفی جو اسٹوئسزم ہے وہ بیسکلی چار پرنسپلس کے اوپر ہے، چار اس کو ورچوز کہتے ہیں، پرنسپلس کہنا، 4 اسٹوئک ورچوز ہیں، ان کے اوپر بیسڈ ہے، جس کی وجہ سے اگر انسان اس کی طرف توجہ دے تو زندگی جو ہے وہ آسان ہو جاتی ہے، یا میں کہوں گا کہ اتنی زیادہ تکلیف دہ نہیں ہوتی جتنی کہ ہے اگر آپ اسٹوئک نہیں ہوں گے. حالانکہ آپ دوسری فلاسفیز کو بھی وہ کر سکتے ہیں، اسٹڈی کر سکتے ہیں، لیکن اس کے اندر یہ ہوتا ہے کہ زندگی اتنی زیادہ تکلیف دہ نہیں ہوتی. اور اس کے اندر کیونکہ یہ بیسکلی کہہ لیں کہ اسٹوئسزم جو ہے اس کا کوئی وہ نہیں ہے، یعنی کہ اٹس جسٹ اے فلاسفی، تو یہ بیسکلی ایگنوسٹک ہے. یو کین اپلائی اٹ اینی ویئر، لائک کرسچن، مسلم، ہندو، اینی بڈی کین اپلائی اٹ، کیونکہ یہ اس کا کوئی وہ نہیں ہے، یعنی کہ دیر از نو گاڈ سسٹم ان اٹ. یہ بات ہے.
Don't you think sadness and happiness is a choice?
So the heaviest question came at the end, right? Okay, so what you do when you're happy and or you're sad is a choice.
So it's like when you want to feel sad, آپ کوئی sad سا song لگاتے ہیں and you are like thinking of something.
The brain is a thinking organ, of course.
When it comes to happiness, you are hanging with your friends out and you feel happy. So
Yeah,
I
because
think that's a choice.
Actually, your brain, I'd say that's not a good thing. یعنی کہ if you're happy, you want to be more happy, that's dangerous. Just be happy, جہاں پہ آپ happy ہیں نا وہیں پہ رک جائیں، کیونکہ وہ پھر اس کا مسئلہ یہ ہوتا ہے کہ بیلنس خراب ہو جاتا ہے. تو جب آپ نیوٹرل اسٹیج کے اوپر آتے ہیں تو یو اسٹارٹ ورنگ، یہ مسئلہ ہوتا ہے.
چوائس کی بجائے میرا خیال ہے گول کہا جا سکتا ہے. ہیپینیس از دی گول ٹو اچیو، بٹ ہیپینیس از اے اسٹیٹ آف بینگ، اسٹیٹ آف مائنڈ، سم تھنگ. یعنی اسٹوئسزم کے پیرائی میں دیکھیں تو مجھے اپنے ذہن کو، اپنی سوچ کو ایسے ڈالنا ہے کہ میں وہ اسٹیٹ آف مائنڈ اچیو کر لوں جس میں آئی ریمین کام اینڈ کول اینڈ اسٹیپ ٹورڈس ہیپینیس. مطلب یہ چوائس ان دا سینس بن سکتی ہے اگر آپ اس کو ڈیسٹینیشن یا گول کے طور پر لیں کہ مجھے خوش رہنا ہے، مجھے اور خوشی بانٹنی ہے، اور اس کے لیے
Stoicism does not say that the happiness is the ultimate goal. It doesn't say that. وہ consequence, it's a consequence of progressing in the 4 stoic virtues. You will eventually be happy, but it's a consequence of that. Like happiness is not the goal. Stoics جو ہے حالانکہ freedom جو ہے اس کو وہ کیا سمجھتے ہیں کہ گول ہے. Freedom eventually leads to happiness. All types of freedoms lead to happiness. When you're free, you're happy. Things are more certain when you're free, basically. So if I've bored you guys enough, can we end? Thank you.